Guys, it's Sarah, and today is BookList Thursday. This is a video series I do with my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library. And every Thursday we bring you some sort of list or book topic that we feel like talking about for the week. And this week we are doing our follow-up to our 5-star predictions. This round we worked with Krista from Books and Jams, who is one of our besties. And for the buzzword for this one, we had our other bestie, Amanda, pick a buzzword for us. And she picked the word favorite. So we took that buzzword, ran with it, picked 3 books that could kind of fit into that word some way, somehow, and picked books that we thought would be 5 stars and gave them a read. And we are giving you our results today. Okay, this one, you guys, this was a round. I kind of had a crisis in the middle of this round, and you'll see why. We're going to start with a high note because I did read Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. She is one of my favorite authors. This book also got me to finish her backlist. So this was the only book of hers I had not read yet, and now I have. So I have officially read everything that Taylor Jenkins Reid has written, including her short story. So I listened to this on the audio. It was narrated by Julia Whalen, my queen, and I loved it. Loved. This one deals with grief because this is following a woman who loses her brand new husband very soon after they got married. I mean, we're talking days after they got married. He is involved in an accident and passes away. That happens in the very, very beginning of this book. And you see her go through that. So there is grief on page in this book. So something to think about. Loss of a husband, something to think about. That is my worst nightmare, is losing my husband. Anytime he even drives to work, I'm like, be careful. Like, I can't not have him in my life. So, this is my worst nightmare right here in a book. And it was heartbreaking. It really was, just seeing her go through the grief that she's going through. And, walking through that with her, basically. And she tackled it so well. And yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's hard to describe because you see her going through things. You don't always understand why she's doing the things that she's doing. But then again, you do. And you kind of know what she needs to do to kind of help pick herself back up. But then you kind of understand why she's not doing that. So definitely an emotional roller coaster for sure. There were also some things that were coming out throughout her grief that were kind of, things she wasn't aware of necessarily when her husband was alive. So that was very interesting. And you do kind of go back and forth in timelines here. So you do see them meet and you see their romance blossom and everything like that. So that was good too. So we do get to know her husband for sure in the book. He's not just an afterthought, but yeah. So, but this was 5 stars. Easy. So very happy about this one. And the reason I'm happy about that one is because my other 2 were DNFs. Both of them. We'll start with this one because this is the one I got further into. I DNF'd this, you guys. So I picked With Love from Cold World by Alicia Thompson. I picked this one because this is set in Florida, which is my favorite state because that's the state that I'm from. That's a state that eventually my husband and I will retire to when his Air Force career is done. So he's in Florida right now and I'm very upset about it. He's there for work and I'm like, whatever, you have fun. It's fine. So that's how it fit into. So I picked it for a 5-star prediction. This was the one that was a little bit more risky where I was like, I wasn't quite sure if it was going to maybe be 5 stars, but I was going to give it a shot. And yeah, I should have listened to my gut because I DNF'd it. I DNF'd it at 51%. I got halfway through this book. I was listening to it on audio. And I did not enjoy it. It was narrated by Lindsay Dorcas. I did not enjoy the narration, but I also did not enjoy the story. I really just kind of didn't care about these characters. And I felt like I got halfway through this book, but nothing was happening. I was like, is something going to happen? Because literally nothing is. So it's kind of a workplace hate to love situation. And it's a competition between them, but it didn't, I don't know. It felt unfinished, or not unfinished because I didn't finish the book, but the whole premise behind it didn't feel polished. That's what I meant to say, polished. I was just like, okay, they're kind of vying for this thing, but then like, what do you get when you like, are you going to get a promotion? Are you going to like get, I don't know. Are you going to get a raise? That was never ever clear about anything. So I didn't really know what they were going for, basically in their jobs and with this competition thing. And I just didn't care about them as people either, just because they felt so flat to me. They felt very one-dimensional. I don't know. I didn't care. And then there was a whole thing about foster care in here that felt like it was just thrown in to have something deeper, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense. And there was maybe 2 scenes in the entire first half of the book that dealt with that. And I was just like, if this is going to be in it, like go for it. You know what I mean? Make it an actual part of this person's life. And it really just wasn't. I don't know. I didn't like it. So I DNF'd it at 51%. I said, I no longer want to read this book. So very unfortunate, but it's what it is. This was the last one that I attempted to read. And this almost put me into a slump because I was like, do I even know what I want to read anymore? I have 2 5-star predictions that I DNF'd. Do I even know my own reading taste? It was a whole thing, guys. It was a whole thing. And then this one here is The Resemblance by Lauren Nassett. This was a legit 5-star prediction. I really thought I was going to love this book. No, I had a lot of issues with it. So this one, I was reading this one with my eyeballs. Yeah, I was reading this one physically. So the big thing about this, number one, it's a mystery, like mystery thriller. There is someone who is killed and they are trying to figure out what happened to him. The whole premise is that he was hit by a car on a college campus, and a witness says that the person driving the car looked exactly like the victim, like identical to the victim. And so they're trying to figure out, that's weird. They don't have a twin. What happened? What happened with this? So they're trying to figure it out. So to me, that sounds very intriguing. Like, what is happening? Okay. The only thing I liked about this book was that it was set at the University of Georgia. So I knew some of the places they were talking about because I've been to the campus before. They did talk about football. They talked about football players that I know because I watched the games because that's my team. And that's why I picked this one, because University of Georgia is my favorite football team to follow. Major fans. My parents both went to Georgia, so that's why I am a fan. So that's how it fit into here. But I was so bored, you guys. I was so bored. I got to page 191, so almost 200 pages into this book, and it's not a very long book. So I have a couple criticisms. Number one, I was just really bored. It didn't feel like it was going anywhere. Number two, it took a turn, like a major turn that I didn't like. And it completely changed the way that the story was being told. And I did not like that. I was like, I feel like I picked up a book where I thought I was going to get this premise, or I thought that I was going to get a story that would be unfolded this way, but it's actually being unfolded this way. And I didn't like it. It completely threw me off. And I was like, what? Like, it almost felt like a whole different book. So I didn't like that. And there were so many repetitive lines in here. Like, I wrote them down on a Post-it because I was like, I've read this line before. So one of them was, there was a metal cart rolling down a hall in a hospital. And she talked about that metal cart, like hearing a metal cart being rolled down a hall multiple times. And I was like, okay, there's metal carts going down the hall in a hospital. We get it. And then there were repetitive phrases where it would say, I'm one something away from something. So like, I think one of them was, he was one polo shirt away from a frat boy or something like that, or from becoming a frat boy, or just one something away from something. And she said that like 3 times within a short period, like within a few pages, that I was like, I already read this line. Like, what's going on? So it felt very repetitive in that way, and I didn't like that. It's just something that kind of went, I've already read that, like different phrases, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It just, so because I decided to DNF it, I forced my friend Audrey, who read and enjoyed this book, spoil it for me. And I definitely would have been disappointed in the ending as well if I had kept going and put all the effort into reading it and been like, okay. So there's that. So I do know how it ends. And I would have been like irritated. So I'm glad I DNF'd it. It was just very disappointing. She does have another book, I think, that follows the same detective in this series. I'm not going to read it. But yeah, so yeah. Okay. That's how my reading went. It was not a good round. I have been thinking about 5-star predictions a lot lately, and I know I've had some good rounds and some not so good rounds, and that's just a chance you take when you pick a 5-star prediction, right? Because you never know. You're predicting. They're not all going to be 5 stars, definitely. I think the last round was pretty good, actually. The last one that we did, I think that was a good round. So this one was not. So fingers crossed that our next one is going to be fantastic. Fingers crossed. We'll see. Yeah, but make sure you go check out Lindsey and Krista today because they are wrapping up their rounds as well. Hopefully theirs went better than mine. And we will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.